All right, let's start with one of the top stories and update you on the Commission of Inquiry into State Capture. Today, it's been hearing testimony of a former Chief Financial Officer of SA Airways, Phumeza Nhantsi. Last week, the Commission heard damning evidence on how SAA's board under Dudu Myeni ignored proper governance processes. We're joined by Mbali Mtetwa, our reporter on the story. Thank you for being with us in studio. So, is she corroborating or presenting something different to what we heard last week, that a lot of governance procedures were basically flouted?
Well, we've heard the previous witness speaking about how certain governance was flouted. But we have this person who's coming in to actually explain and give reason as to why the board took the decisions they made. And it's almost as though she's just basically justifying her actions. Now, we know that she was suspended last year for her involvement in appointing BNP Capital, and she was found guilty of financial misconduct, and she was just at the commission to basically to state her case and also to dispute some of the testimony that we heard last week from Stimple.
I think she did say at one stage she was used, so not fully aware of what was going on at the time, basically.
I think, she did allude to being used, and she did allude to being possibly used as a scapegoat. One of the points of contention in the SAA leg is this $15 billion transaction loan, rather, that was actually meant to consolidate SAA's debt. And we've heard that certain procurement processes were flouted in the interest of making this deal happen, and we understand that they had gone to the FDC, which is the Free State Development Corporation, which was not mandated to fund or even give any form of money financing to an SOE, and their mandate basically goes as far as provincial level and not does not go as far as matters of national interest. And she's basically explained to the commission that she felt that she was acting within the confines and the prescripts of the supply chain management policy at SAA. But you hear advocate Kate Hofmeyer basically making her aware that some of those prescripts are not followed, and that this FDC did not follow proper procurement procedures, in the sense that it did not basically give a bid it did not submit a bid before the bid time had closed.
Yeah. Okay, so that's what's wrong with this. So BNP Capital was allowed to source a very big loan for SAA. So that sounds, well, it's all good and well, but of course the people who source the loans and consolidate your debts make a lot of money as well, so they should be chosen carefully.
Yes, so with the issue of BNP Capital, we've heard last week, Stimple spoke about how, this, in as much as SAA needed the financing and needed the money and needed to consolidate its debt, it shouldn't have cost so much money
to do that.
Exactly, and we've heard that it was going to cost them an additional 225 million rand. Sure. And we basically hear today's witness basically talking about, the reasons why the board had decided and made the decision to appoint these transaction advisors. And she's basically saying that the board felt that they did not have the necessary skills within the organization to carry this transaction through. Okay. And we heard last week Stimple saying that she felt that they had them, and her department had the capacity to follow this through.
Very quickly, more information about Dudu Myeni's advisor. Quickly lay that out for us.
No problem. So we heard that 2 days into her appointment as interim CFO, which is today's Nhantsi, today's witness, and she's basically saying that she was given this person's number by then chairperson Dudu Myeni to basically communicate with and just get more information about SAA and so on. And she said it was rather strange, the fact that this person was an advisor to SAA, however he was not on SAA's payroll. And she thought that this was rather strange. And you heard Judge Raymond Zondo asking that, you know, did you not think it was strange to have a third party getting involved in executive decisions? And she agreed, and she conceded, and she said it was strange, but because at the time she was still new at SAA, she wasn't sure if she could actually say anything about it. But later on, you hear in the afternoon new information coming forward that this Mgadi actually is an employee of Nedbank, and that, you know, he was also representing BNP Capital. And she said in a meeting she wanted to discuss this with this particular advisor to Dudu Myeni, obviously. And she said that, you know, after the meeting, he just laughed it off as if it was nothing.
Sure. But this was a conflict of interest. We have to leave it there. But thank you. And she'll continue to follow the inquiry into state capture Mbalenhle Mtetwa.